And that's how the movie projector tricks us into believing that motionless pictures are moving. A motion picture.
The Oscars love rewarding movies about making movies. I don't know if that thought was going through Steven Spielberg's mind when he decided to make a movie about his own life. A documentary in 2017, Spielberg, directed by Susan Lacey, looked at Spielberg's life and work, interviewing countless colleagues, actors, and Spielberg's family, including his parents and sisters. Spielberg's mother, Leah Adler, passed away in 2017 at the age of 97, a few months before the documentary premiered at the New York Film Festival. Spielberg's father, Arnold Spielberg, passed away in 2020 at the age of 103. So we will never know what Spielberg's parents would have thought about how they were portrayed in The Fabelmans.
I learned very early on to go with him. And if Steve wanted something, he wanted it as badly as I want things. We have this great passion. Forget talking me out of anything, or Steven Spielberg. So I joined him. I became his ally. I was his best friend. Either that or I was going to break his legs.
Spielberg purposely waited 20 years, until they had both passed, to make this movie out of fear it would upset his parents to have their personal lives on the screen. The coming-of-age story changes the Spielberg family to the Fabelmans, a pretty accurate name, I think, to the high spectacle that Spielberg's body of work is known for. The story revolves around Sammy Fabelman, somehow a less alliterative name than Steven Spielberg, starting in 1952 and ending around 1965. In the beginning of the film, Mitzi and Bert, Sammy's parents, played by Michelle Williams and Paul Dano, take a very young Sammy to see his first movie. Cecil B. DeMille's The Greatest Show on Earth, a dazzling spectacle that ends with a huge train crash after a botched robbery, which is totally inappropriate for a young child to see. Sammy is horrified but also dazzled by the spectacle and asks for a model train for Hanukkah, which he keeps crashing. Until Mitzi offers that he can shoot the fake crash on a Super 8 camera, his first movie. Sammy lives with his parents, 3 sisters, and his father is frequently in the company of his business partner and best friend, Uncle Benny. Uncle Benny is portrayed by Seth Rogen, adding a dose of humor to Spielberg's traumatic childhood discovery. Like Spielberg's real father, Benny and Bert both work at RCA. Bert is a visionary electrical engineer. Bert's contribution to RCA is that he worked on the Bismack vacuum tube computer. In 1957, based on his work on the Bismack, Bert gets offered a job at General Electric in Phoenix, and Mitzi convinces him to bring Benny along. The real Arnold Spielberg would go on to design General Electric's GE200 series of computers, specifically the GE225. Uncle Benny and Mitzi are shown to be extremely close friends, and Bert is wrapped up in his work and absent-minded, as geniuses often are. Sammy's love of making movies continues to grow. In 1958, for a merit badge, he makes The Last Gunfight, and then Escape to Nowhere, a World War II movie. Bert and Sammy clash repeatedly over Sammy's film obsession. Bert doesn't understand that it's not just a hobby.
It's kind of like what I do, isn't it? What a movie director does. It is.
Sammy is much more like Mitzi, a stifled creative who put her piano playing on the back burner to raise a family. Mitzi's mother dies, which badly affects her mental health and brings her estranged uncle Boris, a lion tamer, to the house for a couple days.
Now, maybe she was a good person, my sister, but she was scared. Scared for your mother. She should have safety in the family.
Boris is played by Judd Hirsch, who was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this performance.
I'd go stick my stupid head in the mouth of lions.
The pivotal moment of the film occurs when Sammy, after being gifted a Mansfield 8mm editing machine by his father, catches Uncle Benny and Mitzi having an affair on the family camping trip. Sammy is traumatized and swears off filmmaking forever. Sensing something is wrong, and with the worst timing, Bert accepts a job at IBM and wants to move his family from Phoenix, a place they've come to love, to Saratoga, California, without Uncle Benny. With this as the backdrop, Sammy confronts his mom about the affair, and Uncle Benny tries to buy Sammy off with a new camera, which he accepts but swears not to use.
And IBM? That's where guys like Bert are figuring out how to use what he's made to They're going to change the whole goddamn world. So
In Northern California, they are all miserable. Mitzi's depression worsens each day, and she decides to get a pet monkey. Something Steven Spielberg's real mom actually did during this time.
And I remember the kids freaked out. They were so scared. Steve said, you know, in a normal household, kids say, can we have a monkey? And the mother says, are you crazy? You know, when I hear my stories about the things I've done, I think, that was crazy.
Did you think she was crazy?
I like the monkey.
Throughout the movie, we see Sammy go to the movies multiple times, and one movie he sees is John Ford's The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Sammy goes to a new school, quickly realizing he's the only Jewish boy there, and getting bullied by anti-Semitic classmates.
He doesn't like Jews.
nobody likes Jews.
Except other Jews.
But in the process, he also finds a new girlfriend, Monica, who's a very devout Christian and wants to convert him.
Ask him to come into you. Ask him to enter you.
Monica finally helps convince Sammy to try filming again after lending him her father's Airflex professional 16mm camera. He films the school's ditch day, using the film to humiliate one anti-Semitic bully and to gain favor with another.
I don't know why. You are the biggest jerk I've ever met in my entire life. I have a monkey at home that's smarter than you!
The fallout, which started from Mitzi's affair with Uncle Benny, finally comes to a head when Mitzi and Bert announce they're getting a divorce.
Don't you love Daddy?
Sure she does. Of course I love Dad, and I love Mom.
This sends Sammy spiraling out of control, catalyzing in a traumatic time period where he professes his love to a horrified Monica at prom.
Monica, I love you.
That's impossible. Sammy.
Sam.
Mitzi returns to Phoenix to reunite with Uncle Benny, while Bert stays in California and helps Sammy pay for college. Sammy hates college and wants to get employed in Hollywood, finally receiving one letter back. The letter is answered by the creator of Hogan's Heroes, who knows Sammy would rather be in film than television, but is impressed with his ambition. He asks if Sammy wants to meet the world's greatest director.
John Ford will arrive and talking to her, and about 40 minutes later, this old dude walks into the room wearing like a safari jacket and a patch over an eye, chewing on a handkerchief with a half, chewed up and very masticated and wet cigar in his hand. I saw all this stuff instantly, and he had kiss marks, but I mean, like not make-out marks, but the kind of perfect kiss marks.
Who turns out to be none other than John Ford, played by David Lynch. Amazingly, this actually happened to a 19-year-old Spielberg because why not?
And he said, "What do you know?" He said, "What do you know about art?" And I was stammering. I wasn't expecting that question. He said, "You see those paintings around the office?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, get up and walk over to the first painting." He said, "Tell me what you see in that painting." And I said, "Well, I see two Indians on horses." He said, "No. Where's the horizon?"
Oh, wow.
John Ford gives Sammy one piece of advice before sending him on his way to conquer Hollywood. Well, roughly a decade later anyway.
When the horizon's at the bottom, it's interesting. When the horizon's at the top, it's interesting. When the horizon's in the middle, it's boring as shit.